to compare fractions, to say which fraction is bigger and what fraction is smaller. But today we're going to take that to the next step. We're going to learn how to put fractions in order from smallest to biggest. Then we're also going to learn how to put fractions in order from biggest down to the smallest. This is just the next step on what you already know how to do when you're comparing two fractions to see which one has a bigger value and a smaller value. So two words we need to know when we're putting fractions in order are just going to be the word increasing. Does anyone know what the word increasing means? Andrea?
Like more of something.
Increasing means to get bigger. To go up or get bigger. So if we were asked to put whole numbers in increasing order, we would go 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, then 6. There we go. Increasing is to go up in order. Okay? What do you think decreasing means then? If increasing means to go up in order, what do you think decreasing means? Alondra?
When it gets like more less and less and less.
Exactly, to go down in size. So if we're going down, let's start at 5, then we would go to
4, 3, 2, 1.
That means decreasing order, going down to the smaller.
Go down.
So one way that we can order fractions, put fractions in order from smallest to biggest or biggest to smallest, is to use our fraction strips and look and compare their value and size. So we have these three fractions and we're being asked to put them in order. It says in increasing order. That's going to be very important. We're going to want to remember that. What should I do when I want to remember something? Ashley.
You should either underline it or circle it.
Very good. Since this question is saying in increasing order, let's underline or circle increasing order. Now to put fractions in order, the easiest thing is to ask yourself these simple questions. First, which of your fractions is biggest, like the biggest size? Which of your fractions is smallest, like the smallest size, and then which one falls in between in the middle? So if you have fraction strips, look at those. Out of 1/5, 1/2, 1/8, and 1/4, which one, let's say, is the biggest fraction? It is worth the most value. Diego, what's the biggest fraction?
1.5.
1/2 is the
1/2.
1/2. There you go. 1/2 is the biggest fraction. So let's put that down. Out of those four fractions, which one is the smallest fraction?
1/8.
That has the smallest value. Andrea?
It would be 1/4 because the denominator is 8, and as numbers keep getting bigger, the little pieces keep getting smaller.
So I heard you say it would be 1/4 because its denominator is 8. Okay, say it again now correctly.
1/8.
Because?
Because the denominator, as it keeps getting bigger, the piece gets big and small.
Exactly. We know as our denominators get larger, if our numerators are the same, those pieces are actually the smallest pieces. So 1/8 would be the smallest fraction in our set. Let's jot that down. Now we still have two we've got to put in order. We still have our 1/5 and 1/4. Which one is the smallest out of those?
1/5.
Jared.
1/5.
And which one is the bigger one out of those? Alani.
1/2.
No, 1/2 is biggest. We're trying to figure out which one is the biggest between 1/5 and 1/4. Matei.
1/4.
1/4 is bigger than 1/5. So remember, it's increasing order. So am I going to start with the smallest fraction or the biggest fraction if I'm supposed to put them in increasing order? Luis.
In largest to smallest.
If we're going up in size, would we go bigger to smaller?
No.
Okay, so try again.
We will go from smallest to biggest.
Exactly. When we have increasing order, start with the smallest fraction and then work your way up to the biggest fraction. Okay, so what did we say was the smallest fraction?
1/8.
I'm going to put these all in a box since this is going to be my answer and my sequence. Okay, 1/8 is the smallest. We're going in increasing order. So which one comes next? Please raise your hand. A little bit bigger than 1/8. Matei.
It could be 1/5.
1/5 would come next. Now we're getting to a fraction that's even a little bit bigger than a fifth. What would that be? Melanie? 1/4. And what's the largest fraction out of the 4 we started with? Sophie?
1/2.
What you just did was you put fractions in order from the smallest value to the biggest value. And you did that by thinking about the size of the fraction, especially since all the numerators were the same here. You know that the bigger the denominator, when the numerators are the same, the smaller its value as a fractional piece. So we put our fractions in order by increasing. We started with the smallest and we went to the biggest. But sometimes questions are going to ask us to put fractions in decreasing order. If we put our fractions in decreasing order, we're actually starting with the biggest and working our way down to the smallest value. Exactly. Now, before we go on, I want to show you how you can check to make sure you got the right answer using fraction strips. So what I want you to do is find your 1/8, 1/5, 1/4, and 1/2 and line them all up, one on top of the other, and look at their sizes, their value. When you line up Sophie, I'm asking you to sit down. When you line up these 4 fractions in order, what do you notice? Jared.
They're from the biggest to the smallest.
Okay, if you go this way, it's the biggest fraction to the smallest, and if you go this way, it's the...
Go down and you take the smallest to the biggest.
Very good. So we said 1/8 was the smallest, 1/2 was the biggest, and 1/5 and 1/4 went in the middle. Were we correct? Yes. So after you order a series of fractions, what tool can you use to check to see if you were right? Luis. Someone help him out. What's that word he's looking for? What tool can we use to check to see if you're right? What did we just use? Yes.
Fraction strips.
Got it. Fraction strips can help you see the smallest fraction all through the biggest fraction. Okay, let's try one more time. This time, we're putting our fractions in decreasing order. Who can remind me what that means? decreasing order, Cassandra? We want the fractions going down in size, getting smaller. So let's look at our fraction strips. And let's build 2/3, 2/6, and 1/2. We're going to start by looking at our fraction strips and building those fractions. So let's get 2/3.
2/3.
Okay.
I'm done.
I got 2/3. Now let's build 2/6. And lastly, let's put 1/2 in there. We built these three fractions using our fraction strips, and we can obviously see that some of those fractions have a bigger value and some of them have a smaller value. We are putting them in decreasing order, so what should we circle so we don't forget? Everyone?
Decreasing order.
Okay, circle it so you don't forget. Let's start by asking ourselves the same three questions we did before. What is the biggest fraction? Leslie? 2/3. You can see it has the biggest amount. Let's write it down. And what is the smallest fraction out of these three? Alex?
2/6.
2/6. And which one is somewhere in the middle? Matei?
1/2.
You got it.
Oh.
Now we need to put them in decreasing order. We start with the biggest and we go down to the smallest. So try on your own writing them from biggest to smallest. When you have put your three fractions in order, please give me a thumbs up. Okay, I would like Juan to read me the fractions in decreasing order.
I put 2/3 first because we were the biggest fraction of fractions.
Very good.
Then I put 1/2 because it was in the middle because it was bigger than 2/6.
Very good.
At the very end, I put 2/6 because 2/6 is the smallest.
Very good. We have decreasing order from the biggest fraction down to the smallest fraction. So today, you're going to practice this. You can work with a neighbor who has their fraction strips, or you can do it without them. You may use your fraction strips to help you order these fractions and then write them in their correct order. You may begin.